from WBBM TV Chicago, Curtis, McLennan, McFerrin, Baskerville. This is Channel 2 News at 10.
Good evening. It began as a robbery at Walmart. A man trying to make a run for it gets into a waiting getaway car. He speeds off, but drives straight into the path of a waiting police officer. The officer opens fire with devastating results. This is what happened next. The car careening out of control into a line of parked vehicles. Tonight, yellow police tape marks the scene. Now police stand behind it, investigating a shooting by one of their own. Here's Channel 2's John Duncanson with more. John?
Bill, this is how it ended right here. Police aren't saying much, but an internal investigation by the police department is underway as a result of this officer-involved shooting. The suspect reportedly stole a case of cognac from a local neighborhood store here. The question tonight is, why was he shot and what kind of a threat did he pose to officers involved? Neighbors heard an explosion of gunshots, the revving of an engine, then the crash of steel as this maroon Ford smashed into a row of parked cars.
What I saw was that a car had ran into the car there across the street, and a woman was screaming hysterical that her father or whomever was shot. I got to the car, it slumped over, he was bleeding, wasn't breathing or anything, so I pulled him out of the car and I began CPR on him.
One man was shot tonight after apparently being chased out of this Walgreens store on Broadway and Waveland by an armed off-duty Chicago police officer.
The guy ran into this alley over here, and the cop waited, and he saved the car, which the lady was in. She drove up in the alleyway. She picked the guy up, I guess, and all I heard was a shot. Right. Next thing you know, he sped out, hit that car right there.
I saw him run out of the store, hollering, stop, aiming his gun, and then I saw him shooting.
Reports of what happened are somewhat conflicting as to just when and where the officer actually shot the suspect. Police sources at the scene say the off-duty police officer chased the suspect into this alley. The suspect then got into a car already occupied by a female companion. He got behind the wheel and began to gun the engine, took off right for the officer, and sources say the officer at that point began to shoot. The off-duty officer shot at least once in the alley. Investigators collected shell casings from the gun. It is not clear whether the suspect tried to use a gun against the policeman. Now, police officers are still saying very little about this case. They are interviewing witnesses at Area 6 Police Headquarters. The suspect is reportedly in critical condition at Illinois Masonic Hospital with a gunshot wound to the head. We are live on the north side. I'm John Duncanson, Channel 2 News. Linda?
John, our other major story tonight, the accident on the Michigan Avenue Bridge. It happened in an instant, but the damage will take months to repair. And once again tonight, the heart of our city is in the hands of engineers, technicians, and investigators, just as it was during the Great Chicago Flood. Our live camera high atop Michigan Avenue provides the best view of the scene tonight. The damaged section of the bridge points high into the night. From this vantage point, you can tell what went so wrong. This bridge is not designed to stand straight up, of course. Tonight, investigators say the damage is worse than originally thought. Workers won't even be allowed to begin permanent repairs until supports can be put in place. And the biggest question of all remains, what exactly happened? Channel 2's Jay Levine can tell us more. Jay?
Linda, those dramatic pictures are accompanied here at the scene at Michigan and Wacker by an eerie silence. Behind me, what looks like an accident frozen in time. A stillness. Even the wrecking ball, which flew off that construction crane yesterday, remains right where it landed, in the back seat of a city worker's car. Authorities tonight are convinced that the bridge is stable in the upright position. The yellow crane now tightly wedged in the space where the southeast section of the bridge meets Michigan Avenue, holding it firmly in place. All more than 30 hours after one section of the bridge went up to let a sailboat pass. Then as it was coming down, that southeastern section, closed and under construction, started to shoot up, the crane rolling backward and smashing into the street. That's how it happened. Why it happened remains a mystery. This is how a bascule-type bridge works. 13-year veteran bridge tender George Sledge operates a similar bridge on the south side. In order to raise it, he must activate 5 separate motors, all in a precise order. Then he releases the center lock and places both feet on pedals, releasing 2 more special brakes. It takes 4 men to operate the Michigan Avenue Bridge. Here, George can do it alone. With the power on, the locks released, and his feet on the pedals, George can then turn the lever, which sets these gears into motion, and the bridge on the way up. There are 3 speeds he can use, none anywhere near as fast as the Michigan Avenue Bridge shot up yesterday.
You have to start all the motors up.
Then you have to release the lock.
Then you have to take the lock out.
Then you have to take the lock
Then you
out.
got to stand on the brakes, and then you work the controls. If he didn't do all that, the bridge automatically came up on its own.
So it can't be something as simple as hitting the wrong button.
No.
As Sledge allows boats like the Peggy Ann to pass beneath his bridge tonight, the man who's trained many others to operate the city's many drawbridges tries to figure out how yesterday's accident could have happened. He wonders about that crane.
As heavy as they said the crane was, when it gets far enough back, when naturally the weight of the crane would make it shoot up as fast as they said went up, it had to be from the weight of the crane. That's all I could see.
At a point where you start to have any kind of out-of-balance situation, the potential of this kind of occurrence is great.
Balance is crucial here, because contrary to what most of us might believe, it does not take a lot of weight to raise and lower that bridge behind me. According to bridge building experts, it's like a giant seesaw. Alter that balance by adding or taking away some steel or some concrete during reconstruction, and one end of that 1,000-ton seesaw will be shooting skyward. That may have been what happened. We're live at Michigan and Wacker. I'm Jay Levine, Channel 2 News. Bill, back to you.
Jay, of course, the bridge accident is making rush hour a mess. Tonight, traffic on side streets in the Loop and near North was jammed. It even slowed down cars heading for tonight's Bears game at Soldier Field. The best advice, avoid the area altogether. But if you have to drive downtown, here are some alternate routes. Fairbanks is a good street to use to avoid the gridlock. Another alternate is Dearborn, which is accessible for commuters who need to cross the river. Eastbound traffic on Wacker is being detoured at Wabash onto Water Street, then Columbus Drive. Stay tuned to Channel 2 News for the latest on the investigation into the accident at the Michigan Avenue Bridge.
The debate has raged for almost 20 years. What happened to hundreds of American POWs who never came home from the Vietnam War? Tonight, there is new evidence that when the war ended in 1973, many were left behind with the full knowledge of the U.S. government. The battlefields of Southeast Asia, helicopters dropped troops into a tropical jungle they would never escape from. Many were captured and held prisoner. And tonight, a man who once headed the CIA and the Pentagon is saying some POWs were left there on purpose.
As of now, that I can come to no other conclusion, Senator.
And
that does not say that there are any alive today, mind you.
No.
In 1973, some were left behind.
Schlesinger told the Senate Committee on POW MIAs that 350 American soldiers were listed as captured or missing in Laos. He believes some POWs were deliberately left behind, even though then President Nixon promised all would be found and brought home. And the numbers seem to prove that. Only 9 American POWs actually returned from there alive. Channel 2's Adele Arakawa is here with the story of an Illinois soldier who was lost but not forgotten. Adele.
Linda, the family of George McDonald has been tortured with the belief that the 24-year-old captain survived a plane crash over Laos. There was evidence of survivors, but the government made every attempt to convince the family that George McDonald was dead. Still, his brother, who lives in Evanston, clings to that small hope that one day he may come back.
You have to figure somebody survived those planes that were shot down.
Jim McDonald believes that his younger brother George may have been one of those survivors. His C-130 with 16 aboard was shot down 3 weeks before the Vietnam War ended.
2 survived the crash, 1 died, and they had 13 missing in action, and 5 parachutes found on the ground, and we figured those 5 men survived.
Do you believe your brother may still be alive today?
It's very possible. I mean, I don't know if he's alive today, but I think at the time of the crash, there was a 5 out of 13 chance he survived the crash.
George McDonald was shot down over Laos, a country that was not party to accords agreeing to the release of U.S. prisoners. Soon after the end of the war, the Laotian government released a list of Laotian-held POWs. It contained only 10 names. During today's testimony, former CIA Director and Defense Secretary James Schlesinger testified that U.S. forces contacted downed airmen in numbers much greater than were ever accounted for.
We had been in communication after flights were knocked down over Laos with the people on the ground. And those people did not appear on the lists.
What else could they say? I mean, especially in Laos, where 800 men are shot down and not a one comes back. I mean, it's not surprising.
Today, more than 2,200 POW MIAs remain unaccounted for. 95 of those are from Illinois. But James McDonald says the chance of his brother being alive today is slim.
I think men survived, and they were eventually put to death.
The U.S. government told the McDonald family that they had found George McDonald's remains, but later rescinded the ID, saying there wasn't enough evidence for positive identification. The congressional hearings continue tomorrow with Henry Kissinger slated to testify. Bill and Linda. Thanks, Adele.
Up next, it's happened again. A fake cop stops a woman driver, but this time she gets away.
Also ahead, a 5-month-old baby is found after being kidnapped from her mother. Find out who is now behind bars. Then Dan Quayle tonight watching the season premiere of Murphy Brown, and you'll never guess who was with him. Then,
Dan Quayle. Dan Quayle should be on our payroll. He's the best publicity man we've ever had.
the cast and crew of Murphy Brown and how Dan Quayle has changed their lives. Our news extra is still ahead.
Things are moving pretty well out there on the freeway. You call this a rush hour? Look, after the clouds clear out.
You took my pillow again.
I did?
You always take my pillow.
I'm sorry. I was asleep.
Marshall Field's 2-for-1 pillow sale. A wide assortment, all specially priced. Because you can never have too many pillows.
Is that important to you?
I just want my pillow. The 2-for-1 pillow sale at Marshall Field's.
Now, Warner Brothers gives you a preview look at an exciting motion picture adventure whose time has come.
It was the final voyage of America's mightiest battleship. The party was wild. They really knocked them dead. Imagine this arsenal of tactical nuclear weapons falling into the wrong hands. The Pentagon never did.
4 minutes ahead of schedule. Damn, I'm good.
Now, a team of terrorists have taken over.
Wake up the president.
But there's one thing they didn't count on. The cook.
Are you like some special forces guy or something?
No, I'm just a cook.
Oh my God, we're gonna die.
This is not the work of a cook.
I want you to coordinate your efforts with us. Yes, sir. I see that you completely disobeyed my orders.
Roger that.
Ryback is an ex-SEAL. Expert in martial arts. Explosives.
Stand fast!
Weapons and tactics.
I also cook.
The Nimitz is tracking 2 Tomahawks just launched from the Missouri. Where are they headed? Honolulu.
Happy trails.
Steven Seagal.
I know you, don't I?
Tommy Lee Jones.
Been a long time.
I'll see you in hell, Senator boy!
Under Siege. Rated R. Starts Friday, October 9th at a theater near you.
He stalks the highways of the Midwest waiting to strike. His target, women traveling alone on the open road. Tonight, that man or a copycat criminal has struck again. It happened early this morning in Wisconsin. The latest incident ended in this parking lot, where a man tried to pull over a woman driver by flashing a phony police badge. The woman drove off, called police, and helped them come up with this sketch of the suspect. The woman was driving along Highway 26, just south of Watertown in southern Wisconsin. Extra patrols like this one have been put on the streets in several Illinois and Wisconsin towns to try to track the rapist. This is a sketch of a man linked to at least one attack in southern Wisconsin earlier this month. At least 5 attacks involving phony cops have been reported in northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin since May.
Chicago's Joseph Cardinal Bernardine says he can't change the past, but he can do something about the future. Tonight, he's got a new plan of action for handling sexual misconduct of priests. He called reporters to Archdiocesan headquarters to announce a sweeping new church policy on how to respond to charges against priests. Among the steps being taken by the Archdiocese, the appointment of an independent panel to investigate allegations, providing assistance and counseling to the victims, and creating a toll-free hotline for victims to report cases of abuse. The Cardinal is also pledging total cooperation with the Cook County State's Attorney's Office in its investigation. It's been a tortuous 48 hours for a mother whose baby was kidnapped. But tonight, mother and baby are reunited, and 2 teenage girls are under arrest. The mother of the baby lives here in Maywood. On Saturday, she gave her baby to the 2 teens who wanted to show him to a relative. But the teens never showed up at the relative's house, and the search was on. 5-month-old Telvin Tyler was found tonight after a tipster phoned police. The baby was checked out at a hospital, and tonight he is fine and at home with his mother.
Steve Baskerville is coming up next with the AccuWeather forecast, and here's a hint: sweaters.
Also, Dan Quayle and Murphy Brown. Murphy Brown on Dan Quayle.
Actually flattered that he would take time away from so many urgent problems this country is facing to attack a fictional character on television.
Tonight we go beyond the makeup. Meet the people behind Murphy Brown. Find out how they wrote tonight's episode. Channel 2 News Extra is still ahead.
I get here at 6:30 every morning. There isn't a machine here that I can't operate. We do 18 million a year, and I don't hide out in my office. I pitch right in, and I love it. I could spot a sloppy crimp or a weak well a mile away. You can't rush a well, or you're just using flux for glue. Look, here's a strong well. Isn't that nice?
It's your life's work. Does your bank understand that?
These long-distance prices are from a study of phone usage undertaken not by AT&T or MCI, but by a totally independent consumer organization. Their exhaustive study compares apples to apples and oranges to oranges. It concludes that with the right phone service, consumers can see significant savings, and we agree. Call MCI and we'll send you the complete study. Or call AT&T and ask if they will.
The Oscar race begins with The Last of the Mohicans, an instant adventure classic, spectacular, a must-see movie event.
Stay alive, no matter what occurs. I will find you.
The Last of the Mohicans, rated R, starts Friday at theaters everywhere.
Although it's the only 4x4 in the world with the security of a driver's side airbag, plus an available 220 horsepower V8 and four-wheel anti-lock brakes, you won't always take your Jeep Grand Cherokee out in the wilderness. Sometimes you'll just take it out for a night on the town. Experience the new Jeep Grand Cherokee at your Jeep and Eagle dealer.
See your local Jeep and Eagle dealer.
Stephen Baskerville, we have cold weather moving in, it sounds like.
But I know somebody who wants this night to last as long as it can.
Yes.
Because it's a good birthday night, you see. Young William over here.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, a happy birthday.
Pushing time.
That's right, 25 again.
Thank you.
That's
yes.
right. That's it, just like you told me to. Happy birthday. Now, actually, it's a special night for other reasons, too. It is the last go-round for summer. Take a look at all the numbers. This may be the last chance you can stand outside. The temperatures are still close to 70 degrees. I don't want to frighten you, but by Wednesday morning, we could be close to records in some parts of the city in the far western suburbs. I'll tell you about that in a minute, but the weather's about to change. The northwest wind is going to help. It will be blowing pretty strong tomorrow, gusting higher than at 10 miles an hour. The high today was 70. We will be lucky to stay in the 60s most of the day tomorrow, but as far as tonight is concerned, the rain we don't have to worry about anymore. It's either south of east of Chicago because there's nothing behind all of this except that cold air that's waiting to plunge in our direction. Here's a cold front trying to make its way through Iowa and parts of Wisconsin. That clear sky will be hours late in the day tomorrow. But before that happens, you'll have to deal with temperatures in the 60s during the day, that cool air fighting to get in. How cold will it be? By maybe 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday, as far west as you can go, you might be close to 35 degrees. Aurora, 36 degrees. Glencoe's got a shot at 37, 38 to 40 degrees in Glenwood, so big changes about to happen. It will stay cool all week long. At least the good point is that we don't expect any rain bearing down on us. Maybe the next rain won't be until Saturday. So to wrap it all up, here's what we expect when you wake up tomorrow morning. Yes, like fall, even though fall doesn't get here until 1:43 in the afternoon. By lunchtime, it'll still feel kind of chilly outside. Imagine that north wind blowing at about 25 miles an hour. It will feel crisp and very autumn-like outside. Rush hour on the way back, partly sunny and breezy. Bill and Linda, you notice what we've done. We've erased any trace of summer there. Maybe a slight comeback on the weekend with temperatures in the 70s. That might feel like a heat wave after tomorrow's north wind.
We'll take it.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you, Steve. Dan Quayle's response to Murphy Brown has just come in via satellite. We'll have it for you next.
Then at Channel 2 News Extra, behind the scenes of Murphy Brown. Tonight, we'll go inside a production meeting of the show's creative team, where they're deciding what to name Murphy's baby.
You're not serious, Murph. You're not naming your kid after Winston Churchill.
No, Frank, I'm naming him after a cigarette.
Tonight, Channel 2's Larry Mempey takes us behind the scenes of Murphy Brown. News Extra next.
To those of you who have never liked the idea of filling in a lot of blanks, we present the new First Chicago loan application form.
Say this is your standard size color print. Then this is Walgreens' big super-size print. It's 37% bigger. And now, Walgreens announces a new low price, 24 super-size prints, just $5.99 every day. And you still get Kodak Color Watch processing and next-day service. Try them now and get a second set free. That's 2 sets for $5.99. Walgreens Film Developing. Big prints, little prices, every day.
Marshall Fields would like to remind you that we're approaching 2 of the shortest days of the year. Marshall Fields' 2-day sale, only 2 short days, this Wednesday and Thursday.
Your Ford dealers have unlocked the secret to driving, and it's going to change the way you think about sports cars. Introducing the all-new 1993 Ford Probe, completely redesigned to give you the ultimate in performance and the ultimate in style. With a bold new look, a 24-valve V6, anti-lock brakes, and a new interior that wraps around you. It's also the only car in its class that comes with an airbag. The all-new 1993 Ford Probe. Once you get in, you won't want to get out. Only at your local Ford dealer.
There's new fuel for the fire tonight in the battle between Murphy Brown and Vice President Dan Quayle. If you watch the season premiere tonight, you know that Murphy hit the Vice President hard in their ongoing battle over single mothers. Vice President Quayle was taking it all in as he watched the show with several single mothers at an apartment in Washington, D.C. Earlier this year, he accused the Murphy Brown show of mocking the importance of fathers. Tonight, he apparently laughed several times while watching Murphy on TV and had this to say after it was all over.
Look, the show was critical of me. It was basically another Hollywood campaign contribution.
The Vice President walked out to a crowd of mixed reviewers. Some cheered, others booed, and gave him thumbs down. Quayle says tonight's show will not sway his opinion.
The Quayle controversy tonight takes center stage at our Channel 2 News Extra. Tonight, we take you behind the scenes of Murphy Brown. Channel 2's Larry Mempey shows us how a single comment by the Vice President has provided new ammunition for one of TV's most popular shows.
Is a rehearsal for episode number 6 of Murphy Brown. The first 5 shows are already taped and in the can. The show you watch tonight, the season premiere on Channel 2, was taped weeks ago and is already firmly a part of American history. The Vice President of the United States attacked a fictional TV character, and tonight, that TV character attacked back.
And in searching for the causes of our social ills, we could choose to blame the media or the Congress or an administration that's been in power for 12 years, or we could blame me.
It's what America was waiting for, Murphy Brown's revenge. Her response to a speech Dan Quayle made last spring when he attacked America's favorite TV anchorwoman for becoming a single mother.
I was actually flattered that he would take time away from so many urgent problems this country is facing to attack a fictional character on television.
But not everyone connected with the show got a chance to tell the Vice President how they felt.
I probably liked the guy. We went out and played golf.
He was right here sitting across the bar from you.
Oh, sure, we get along.
Actor Pat Quayle has 8 children and says he holds family values in high regard. He plays Phil the bartender on the Murphy Brown Show.
If the vice president were to walk into Phil's and with your pictures on the wall, you'd think it would be a possibility. What would your character say to him?
Oh, you'd say, Danny, I just want you to remember that you're safe as long as you behave yourself here. I don't want you to get out of line. I don't want you to misspell potato. I want you to learn. Just behave, okay? No, you can't have milk.
There is some good-natured kidding, but you'll find no hatred for Dan Quayle on this set.
We love Dan Quayle. Dan Quayle should be on our payroll. He is the best publicity man we've ever had.
But the executive producers of the show say enough is enough. They've had their fun with the vice president, they say, and at least for now, it's time to leave the issue of family values on the doorstep.
There are so many important issues in this country that should be being talked about. And, you know, this is kind of a diversionary tactic on the part of certain individuals.
The producers hope this little guy will be the source of publicity for a while. He still doesn't have a name. Today we sat in on the reading of episode number 6, and for a second we thought we had a scoop.
You're not serious, Murph. You're not naming your kid after Winston Churchill.
No, Frank, I'm naming him after a cigarette.
Don't get excited. Winston isn't the name. The name is still a well-guarded secret that may change several times before this show hits the air. And depending on what the vice president does over the next couple of weeks, the producers may change their mind and talk about him again. I'm told that is the secret to the show's success. Stay loose and don't get too serious.
Yeah, I think we'll get serious. You know, we start hearing little clicks on our phone, then we'll know we've done one too many jokes about the vice president.
So this TV battle between Quayle and Brown could be going on and back and forth. And there's one other unresolved issue. We still don't have a name for Murphy Brown's baby. We are told that anything is a possibility. One thing we know for sure, though, is it won't be named J. Danforth Brown. Reporting from the set of Murphy Brown, Larry Menti, Channel 2 News.
And Larry, Bill Clinton didn't see tonight's Murphy Brown show. Instead, he took his campaign to the sidelines. We'll explain after a break.
Then hydroplane disaster. A boat flips out, but the driver lives. The latest on his condition next.
One very big deal on the big taste of Popeye's onion rings. Get 10 pieces of chicken, 20 onion rings, and 4 biscuits, just $9.99.
Oh, I wish everyone knew about the University of Chicago hospitals and what they're doing about cancer. It makes a difference. You know, they're ranked one of the top cancer centers in the entire country. They've got a team of over 500 working to find a cure. And that gives them an edge in finding new and better treatments. They're problem solvers, these doctors. I'd want them on my side.
The University of Chicago Hospitals. Call if you'd like to learn more.
Now this 7-piece gift is yours with any Estee Lauder purchase of $15 or more. Yours through October 3rd at Marshall Fields.
The 1992 Mazda MX-3 Sports Coupe. Motor Trend says its real sizzle is beneath the hood. And tackling mountain roads is second nature. With prices starting at only $11,600, now's the time to get your new Mazda MX-3. It's the right car and the right deal right now. Don't let it get away.
At your local Mazda dealer now.
Today's Sports, sponsored by the companies of Kemper Corporation, making dreams come true.
Sweet dreams, baby.
Kemper, a financial services company.
Sweet dreams tonight.
Kemper, asset management, brokerage, and insurance.
Every baby needs a blanket to help them dream at night.
For growth, for protection, the companies of Kemper Corporation. We're making dreams come true.
Sweet dreams, baby.
We're going down to the wire. We're in the fourth quarter, I presume.
Yes, we are, early in the fourth, and not the score you were hoping for, Bill. The latest from Soldier Field, we are in the fourth quarter now. The Bears need to go to work. Right now, the Giants have a 24-14 lead. The Bears haven't lost to a Giants team here in Chicago in 30 years. Giants controlling the tempo at this point. Bears could very well fall to 1-2 on the season. And somewhere in the stands, at least early in the first half, Governor Bill Clinton. Yes, the governor, of course, not here to campaign, just interested in watching a good, solid football game. Poor guy does not get a chance to watch much NFL football down in Arkansas. Did manage to shake a few hands on the way to his seat, though. What the heck? Get it in when you can, right? Cubs tonight, baseball at New York. A laugher over the Mets, 10-1. Andre Dawson, another major milestone, 2,500 hits. Happens in the fourth inning. His second hit of the night comes off some guy named Joe Vitko, a solid shot. Andre, just the 69th player in history to bang out 2,500 hits. Andre en route to the Hall of Fame someday, and he gets a nice salute from the Shea Stadium crowd. The guy is a real pro, isn't he, Andre Dawson? And this was a no contest. Cubs take control early. Ryne Sandberg going along here. A couple of minutes earlier in that same fourth inning, a two-run pop. Cubs take a 5-1 lead here. Rhino is ripping his 25th homer, 5th dinger in just over a week. Greg Maddux gets the victory, his 19th. The scoreboard tonight, and the Pirates just about got it wrapped up. 3-0 over the Cardinals as Philadelphia falls to Montreal. Montreal now 7 games out. And the Bears are not the only game in town this evening. The Sox hosting Oakland at Comiskey, a game we had hoped would be meaningful. It is not. And even the folks who showed up tonight seem to have football on their minds. This family doesn't want to miss a thing live or on TV, I guess. The A's muscle out in front. Mark McGwire there reached down and just whapped the sucker out. This guy have a little pop in his bat or what? 40th on the year for McGwire. A 2-run homer breaks a 2-2 tie. Oakland takes a 6-2 lead. And how about this bunt from Walt Weiss? You figure in the dirt of the base path, it's got to go foul, but no. The spin keeps it fair. Sox battle back but fall 6-5. Oakland's magic number reduced to 4 now. Also this evening, little deja vu for you. And no, it's not Shea Stadium 1969. It's Kansas City this evening. And the cat on the loose. Can anybody catch that darn thing? And finally, the cat heading for the dugout here. They're going to corner this poor little guy. And finally, success. Baltimore tonight beats Milwaukee. The O's are 5 back. Brewers 4.5 behind Toronto. The Jays are off this evening. Detroit a winner over Boston in extras. Hockey, a Hall of Fame inducts 3 new members today. Marcel Dion, Bob Gainey, and Lanny McDonald. On the ice this evening, preseason play. Hawks and Wings. We're going to show you one goal. That's new Hawk Christian Ruutu on the power play. Sets up Igor Kravchuk. He scores on the slap shot as the Hawks trail 2-1 in the second. Wings explode later in that period for 4 goals in 7 minutes. They win 6-2. Hawks' other goal from Ruutu. Hawks won 2-1 on the preseason. We go out to San Diego now. Yesterday's Budweiser Cup hydroplane race. Home video of a nasty accident. The inside craft going airborne here. Miss Budweiser and driver Chip Hanauer. Scary stuff. Hanauer would be lucky, however, hospitalized with nothing more than broken ribs. Again, the Bears are down tonight at Soldier Field. A full story for you tomorrow at 6.
Thanks, Corey. Sure. That's our news for tonight. I'm Linda McLennan.
I'm Bill Curtis. We thank you for making us your choice for news at 10 o'clock. For all of us, good night.
Good night.